Alright, American turn. Let's see what we've got in our hand. Great, we've got a rally. We need at least one of those, preferably more. Let's see what's going on with the Germans. Nobody's moving. They're in cover. So our group B, we're going to want to rally. So let's take care of that. Or rally 2. Let's see who are the people most likely to panic. We have a 3, 2, 4, and a 3. So let's do our 3 and 2. Alright. That's their turn. They cannot shoot and rally on the same turn. That would be 2 actions. All of our fire cards are still pretty high here. We're at relative range 2 to the 2 German groups. So again, that gives us 1, 2, 3. Just 3 firepower, so you can see not very much firepower. There's not much else for us to do here. We could have decided to discard 2 instead of rallying, but I made the decision to rally because, you know, one more shot and those guys that were pinned could be much more easily killed in action, or, you know, taken out of the game. So that's going to be it for the Americans. So we're going to discard this card and draw up and go back to the Germans. All right. As the Germans, my maneuver group, you know, we still want to move them forward, and our fire base, they're probably good where they're at. Moving them forward would be risky. I probably wouldn't do it unless we could move them, you know, into some really good terrain, like a building, something like that. But let's see what happens. Let's see what we got. Ooh, nice low fire card that we can probably use, and a movement card. So I'm thinking let's shoot with our fire base, and then depending on how that works out, let's move our maneuver group forward. So who do we want to shoot at? Again, I want to concentrate on the fire base. They've already got some guys in trouble. It'd be nice to kick them back up and keep them stuck for even longer, which would really frustrate the US player. Alright, so we need 8 firepower, and at range 2, I think we're going to easily have that. We'll double check. That's 6 right there, just with our light machine gun. And these guys are going to give us 2 each, I believe. I'm sorry, 1 each at 2. So we're looking at 10. So yeah, we're good to go. Let's shoot them. All right. Action in play for the group. We're going to drop it right there. And we are starting with 3. All right. So they're in woods, so that's 2, 1. They get an option to play a concealed card. They have one. They don't want any more guys pinned, so they're going to play their concealed card. There we go. So that's going to bring the firepower down to 0. Right? We started at 3 minus 2 for the woods, minus 1 for the concealed card. So for game purposes, you know, the deck is a timer. We've talked about this. If sometimes it's to the defender's advantage to run the deck down, or if you're winning the game, you know, it can be to your advantage to run the deck down. Let's say you've got more victory points, or you think you will have, and you get those for killing people and advancing and things like that. But you can try to run the deck down more quickly. If you're the defender or you're not winning, you don't want that to happen, right? You want more time. So once you figure out what your final fire strength is going to be, the attacker can decide not to draw all those cards and resolve it against each person if they want. Now, it still counts as an action, but you can decide that you don't want to draw those cards. So right now, with the firepower 0, I could say, I don't want to resolve this. But I think we do want to resolve this. We might get a few more guys pinned. A 0, hey, some of their guys had really low morale, right? I mean, 1, I think there were a few 2s. So we'll go ahead and resolve it. So a lot of times you'll resolve it even if it's low. I mean, even at a -1, you might, or a -2, you might want to try to resolve it. So we're going to go ahead and resolve it. We're at fire strength 0 starting. All right, let's see. We're not going to be able to see everybody at the same time, so let me move these out of the way actually. And that's a little better. Okay. All right, here we go. So 0 plus 0, 0 minus 4. Remember, we're watching for those -6s too. 0 plus 2, so it's going to be 2. And his panic is 4, so he's okay. He does not panic. Next one. 1. He's fine with a morale of 3. Plus 5. All right. Let's see who we got here. Morale 3. We're going to flip him over. He is now pinned. Next person. Plus 4. So let's see what we got. Okay. So this is the first time, right? We're hitting a pinned guy, and our attack at +4 or 4 is greater than or equal to his panic. All right. So this guy is going to very high chance leave the game. So again, we wanted to beat his panic, so we've done that. So now you can see on the card we have to decide 2 things can happen, really. I guess 3. He can panic, which he runs away. It counts as a KIA for points, which means you get a few more points. He can rout, okay, which also means he runs away, but I think it's a little more ordered. So you get fewer points for that. If he routs, he's still out of the game, but you only get 1 point if it's resolved by victory points. And then there's also this option to be wounded, which is a very rare thing. The explanation in the book is that if you get wounded, the wounds that were normally incurred, usually killed you. So, but the game gives a little bit of an option for a wound where you get to keep the guy in the game. So, all right, we've got a 4. Panic is 3. So we're going to check the card that we drew that gave us our 4, right? The random number check. And we're going to look down at the bottom, okay? Let's take a look at that. So down at the bottom here, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or 0, right? And then you see other numbers underneath that. These are going to be used for a lot of different things in the game. They are called the random position check. So they're a way to randomly determine a person in a group. For example, let's say we had a group of 3 people. Well, you could look at the 3, the blue 3 there, and then look right below it, and that'll give you a 1, 2, or 3 randomly. So you can randomly determine who something happens to. You'll see that in use for snipers and weapon malfunctions. You also see some letters next to some of those, right? For our purposes right now, we're going to look at the 0 with the R, and that little R is there to remind you for rout, okay? So that's what we're looking at right now. We're going to see if he routs. So this was our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, our 6th guy, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm just looking at the number of random cards we've drawn up there to count. They're great to help you figure out where you're at. You can see on his card it says rout 0R if the RNC is greater. If the 0R RNC, random number check, is greater than 3, he's going to rout, okay? So we saw that our 0R is an 8, all right? So that means he is going to rout. So he's going to be out of the game for the causes that he routed. Now to check, if he had panicked, if that number was not greater than 3, if our OR column was 3, 2, or 1, he would have just panicked, right? Ran away, gone out of the game, you get 2 points. It's just like a KIA. Since he routs, only if he routs, is there a possibility of being wounded, okay? To look to see if he is wounded, you check to see If the 7W, that little W on this card, is for wound, if that number matches his morale, I believe, he would take a wound. Okay, so it's kind of a complicated process. I'll double check the rule. It might be if it matches his panic. It doesn't come up a whole lot, but it does come up every now and then. So in this case, it doesn't match. Let's flip him over and see what his morale is, 2. So it doesn't match either his morale or his panic. So we're pretty clear we're going to route him. So what happens is you right-click, or in the case of in this, you're right, in Vassal, you right-click, go under his condition, he is routed. And Vassal will put him away for you into a different window routed here that you can check to see how many people have routed. Okay, another one will keep track of our KIA, which we'll look at later. In the game, okay, when someone routes and you have the cards, it depends on which cards you have. There's an original game, which is the cards we're looking at. There's an updated one that's great, but you're going to want to make sure you keep track of which people were routed and killed KIA, just to keep it simple, or which ones are routed and which ones were panicked. So, all right, let's finish this resolution so we can move on here. Whoops, next one. So we were 0 and +6. Wow, so that's a great card. There are only 3 of those, I believe, in the deck. There are 3 +6s, 3 -6s. He is definitely going to flip or get pinned. And last one, +5. All right, that's greater than his morale. So again, we started with a 0, and we ended up having a guy route and pinning 3 guys. So not bad, not bad at all. All right. One other thing for Vassal, sometimes it's good to keep track of that first, their final fire number, that 0 in this case, because you can see we're flipping through lots of cards, and all this stuff happened with the rout and the panic and the wound, so it can be easy to forget what the initial fire strength was you were working with. In Vassal, you can kind of take care of that here. Where is it? That's not it. This one tells you which group is shooting at which group, okay? And then the fire strength here, you can actually put. So I might have, when I play solitaire, sometimes I'll do this, right? When I figure out the final fire strength, I'll go ahead and put that in there. That way I can reference back in case things got complicated along the way, so I remember what happened. All right. So our German shot, and wow, look at that. Not bad, right? So I think let's discard all these cards that we used for this, except for the one that says they fired, so we can just keep track that he did fire. Right? Okay. I am feeling pretty confident right now, so I'm going to use this card to move our maneuver group up 1 more. Okay? And we've got these concealed cards also, so even if somebody shoots at us, we've got our brush modifier, which is canceling out our movement, and we can take off another 2. So not too bad, not too shabby. All right, that's going to be it for the Germans. Not a bad play. We're going to draw up. I'm going to discard this fire card now because we're done with our turn. And it is going to be the Americans' turn again.